turn to medical marijuana, and it's the only thing that works day in, day out, that he doesn't develop a tolerance for, that doesn't back him up and have all the negative side effects that synthetic prescriptions have. So here's a guy who is doing everything he's supposed to do under the law. He gets his physician's recommendation. He gets it in writing. He goes to the state. He applies and gets his registry card, posts his registry card on his plants. He's not the most advanced grower. He hasn't been doing it for year in and year out. He's only been doing it for a few months. Nosy neighbor complains about him, is jealous. Nosy neighbor wants his marijuana, by the way, because it's good enough for the nosy neighbor to want some of it. Jason Love says, sorry, nosy neighbor, you can't have my marijuana because you're not a medical marijuana patient. It would be illegal for me to give you this marijuana. So nosy neighbor gets angry, calls the police, they go get their warrant, bust down his door, come in, guns to the head, and take his medicine away from him. And that's just sad. And now he's being prosecuted in Boulder District Court. I've got the honor of representing this young man. I think we're going to get a good result in that case. I feel optimistic about it, but we haven't gotten that result yet. We're working very hard to impress on the new district attorney, and I'm sure most of you live in Boulder. Talk to your DA. These people work for us. These people serve us. They take an oath to uphold the Constitution. We vote them in. We're their bosses, and so they need to hear from us. So talk to your Boulder district attorney. Tell them about Jason Love, and that's L-A-U-V-E. He's more than happy to go public. We were on the radio a couple weeks ago talking about his case. And tell your DA to lay off. Tell your DA to pursue people who are actually committing real crimes that are hurting other people. That's really what crime is, isn't it? Robbing, stealing, beating someone up, murdering them, hurting another human being. Well, Jason Love's not hurting any other human beings. He's only providing for his own medical needs as the voters of this state wanted. That's another piece of good news. We've got the people on our side on this issue. We've had them on our side for over a decade on the issue of medical marijuana. When the voters of the state of Colorado were asked in the election of 2000 to decide whether they wanted to legalize medical marijuana, their answer, overwhelmingly, yes. Overwhelmingly, compassion. Overwhelmingly, the voters of Colorado said, if you're suffering, if you've got a debilitating medical condition, if you have a doctor's recommendation for it, by all means, grow it, use it, possess it, distribute it, even sell it. There's nothing in the law that prevents people from making an honest living by selling a good quality product at a fair price. Nothing wrong with that. That's our system, and that's what the voters wanted, and that's what we have here. So that's another piece of good news, and that's what I'm here to impress on you. I don't want to drone on and on. I can talk for hours about this issue. I love talking about it. I'm going to let the other people go, and then at the end we will take questions from people, and that's really what I'm interested in most, are your questions about medical marijuana. Brian and I are in court all the time on this issue, and I know the officer knows a lot about it, so just please ask us as many questions as you have, and thank you very much for being here.
With the phone number of the Boulder District Attorney on it, so you guys can take the action.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also, this is a sign-up sheet. Make sure you get on our mailing list so we can keep you informed about what's going on.
Amen.
Hi, my name is Cloud. I'm coming from Colorado Springs with Cannabis Therapeutics Dispensary. One of our main things down there is the caregiver side. The fact that the state is trying to limit the resource and limit the medication to our patients. Good quality, clean, non-street medication is one of the things that we are very much pro on. Not all caregivers, not all patients want to produce their own medication. They may not have the financial means, they may not have the desire, they may not have the space to do so. So they rely upon our caregiving in aspect of raw product, tinctures, lotions, bubble baths, other ways to medicate other than receiving the psychoactive side effect of marijuana. There are plenty of patients out there that do not desire that side effect. So, you know, our big thing down there is making sure that we get this thing coming up in June, you know, under control. The fact that the state is trying to limit us as caregivers to a 1-to-5 ratio, and in effect affects our patients. You limit the supply, it's a supply and demand situation where you're limiting the amount of good, quality, clean product to patients. You know, I want to try to keep this real short because I'm more interested in Q&A myself. So I'm really here to kind of make the stand for the caregiver side of it. So I hope we have some really good questions on that.
Well, for those that came in late, my name's Tom Sloan, and I'm the commander of the Boulder County Drug Task Force. And I was asked to come here, and I said, sure. I think people were surprised. Matter of fact, one of the reporters from the Colorado Daily was quite surprised that I would come. And I said, hey, if you can't have civil discourse about something, how can you be reputable? So, but for those that aren't civil, I am packing. Well,
Back in the hole? Or you
so on the issue, we'll try to stay on the issue of the medical marijuana because that's what we're here for. But the drug task force, I mean, that's just one issue of all the things that we investigate. Things that are thrown on our plate go from Oxycontin, ecstasy, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, marijuana, medical marijuana, all these things are thrown on our plate. I don't have a personal interest in marijuana, so it's all business for me. And when it comes to medical marijuana, that I think our agency, the Drug Task Force, and this was set in place and enrolled by our executive board, which is all the chiefs of police in the county and the VA, that you know, we respect that this is a constitutional law, that it was passed by the voters, and it was passed widely in this county. So there's a lot of citizen support. So with that said, we still have an enforcement role. We have met many growers that provide. They're providers, medical marijuana providers, and they do a good job. We've also met some that are profiteers and are not doing a good job. So we meet both. And then that's where the rub is, and that's where the line comes for us, is to determine who's who in that pool. And I'm looking forward to the discourse that we're going to have in July in front of the health department, because we're not real pleased with some of the wording in the law. It makes it a little harder to enforce, and it makes it hard for the people that are growing. You know, I think it's hard on both sides. So I'm open for your questions as well, and we can get started.
I have a question for you. Your opinion about